Okay, another one of the things that is actually pretty simple thing they have you do in the Adobe Premiere test is naming and renaming of tracks. So, first of all, to explain this a little bit, you have tracks in Premiere. You have your video tracks, which are numbered. They default to being numbered. Video 1, Video 2, or what you would call V1, V2, V3, all the way up to however many you add. Same thing goes with audio, A1, A2. Video goes up, V1, V2, V3, and audio goes down, A1, A2, A3, they go down. So, and the way video works, just to give a little talk about layers here, the way layering works in nonlinear editing systems, most of them, is whatever's on bottom, if you put something on top of it, that takes precedence. So like the way we have the text here in the layer, if it was underneath the video of Ashley, we wouldn't see it because it's being covered up by this video of Ashley. So that's not how we want things, right? So we want the video and then we want to drop the text over it so we can see it, okay? So whatever's on top takes precedent. So if you added a filter to Ashley's text, we could make it blurry or out of focus or anything really to it. That would only be affected by, that would only be affecting the text because we dragged the effect to the text and we're affecting that. So whatever we're doing to that does not affect Ashley's video. So if we wanted it to do both, we'd have to drag the filter to the text and to the video. Okay, that's just a brief little talk about how layers work. Since most of the time we don't do stuff with a lot of layers, we might have 3 or 4 layers and it's really easy to keep track of. But when you're doing bigger projects that have a lot of graphics, a lot of B-roll, a lot of interviews, you could get 5, 10, 15 layers of video, and maybe even very easily, if you're talking about a movie, you have dialogue tracks, you have sound effects tracks, you have music tracks, you have Foley, like the sounds of people, typing, that stuff, or footsteps or anything like that. Those are all things that you add in post-production. And when you have even 3 or 4 layers of audio, you see how they all kind of look the same. This blue track right here is Ashley talking, and this green track right here is music. Now, we know that because there's only 2 layers of audio there. But if you have 5 or 10 of those things going, you can't look at that and tell what it is. We know it's music because there's only 2 things in here. But if that was the sound of a car driving up or the sound of footsteps, you can't really tell by looking at it. So it helps to be able to name the tracks. And the way you do that is if you look at Premiere, the way it defaults when you first open a project, it opens up pretty much like this. You guys have seen this. You get your little blue waveforms here and you get green waveforms here for music, but you can't really see anything about it. And if you've ever had to adjust audio levels, you know that what you have to do is click right here on these little gray lines just outside of the track and click and drag it down so you can get this little white line to show up so that you can then make the audio quieter or louder. You do that pretty much with everything. Now, I clicked and dragged it just then because that's one way to do it, but if you just double click there, it does the same thing. So we can do that here with the music track too. Once we've done that, you can make the music louder or quieter or anything like that. Now, you notice though, when I do that, you see this little thing right here that says audio 1, audio 2. And if we had more tracks, it would go all the way down. That is how you can rename it. So we want to name, let's just to keep it simple here, we want to name this blue thing here, which is Ashley talking.
Just a minute, but first let's take a look at the word and quote of the day.
Okay, so that's Ashley talking. So we're going to change we're just going to make our adjustments, we're going to click inside there. Come on. Right click it. Audio 1, you're going to right click it and come up here where it says rename. Okay, and then it lets you change the name. We're going to change this to dialogue. Well, I like to be as specific as possible, so we're going to call it Ashley Dialogue. Okay. Okay, so now it says Ashley Dialogue. Okay, now to do the same thing, we're going to do that to the music. We're going to right click right there on the word audio 2, right click, and a little dialog box will pop up where you can select rename. Okay, we're going to call this theme music. Okay, so now we've got Ashley Dialogue, we got theme music, and so we can do the same thing up here with the video. We're going to double click, open it up, right click on the video, and we're going to call this Ashley Video. Okay, and we're going to do same thing here with the graphics. So we're going to double click it, right click on the video too, rename. We're going to call this Ashley Lower Third. And just in case you've never heard before, it's called a lower third because it's her graphic that shows up in the lower third of the screen. So we just call those lower thirds. Okay, so now everything's named. You got Ashley Lower Third, you got Ashley Video, Ashley Dialogue, and the idea is to be as organized as possible so when you get halfway through an edit that's got 15 or 20 audio tracks or 15 or 20 video tracks, you actually can just scroll here to the bottom and you're listening and you're like, oh, when the car drives by there in the middle of the scene, the car is too loud. And if you didn't have your track of car sounds labeled, you'd have to be digging through 15 or 20 tracks trying to look for just the right spot where the sound is right, and it's way easier if your tracks are named. So that's a basic question that's on the Premiere test is renaming of tracks, and if they ask you to do that next time, you will know what to do. And that's it. I'll see you again on another video. Thanks.